Okay, this video is supposed to be a super short video. As you can see, I have following prompt in Gemini. I'm gonna hit enter and you'll see the response. This is what today's video is about customizing Gemini to work even better. And we're gonna focus on Gemini being able to teach you languages. It's gonna support you while you're learning the language. I'm doing 2 languages right now. I'm doing Albanian and Italian. Don't ask me why, but those are the 2 languages I'm learning right now. This is the response. Let's dive into this. So it gives me a TLDR. This is something I also added, which was recommended to me. But as you can see, here's the first word I can see, and it explains it in the brackets behind that. I wouldn't recommend doing this with 2 languages, except if they're quite different and you can separate these, because it's not telling me what language this is. I just have to know. And for me, it is Albanian twice in here. So let's continue. Aperture, depth of field, okay. This is Italian. So you have to assume, and you can obviously improve this. I will go into the exact prompts or exact information I've given Gemini and where you can set it up in a second, but let's continue going through this. Okay, shutter speed, motion, ISO. And what I find very important with this is that it keeps the responses super fast, quick, and short. Especially, I don't want to be reading through so much, because then I'm just gonna skip it. But if it's like a word sprinkled in here, then I will definitely read it and maybe something will stick. In some cases, these words are really interesting. Okay, so then it gives me this, the balancing act, and I can explore this. Oh, it gives me even more information on the different items here. That's pretty cool. I haven't seen this in Gemini before. Yeah, then it gives some context for me personally. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click on settings and help, and then you can click on personal context. This is where we set everything up, and I'll make sure to do some follow-up videos if I ever add something here, but this is what it looks like now, starting with the 2 instructions that Gemini themselves give as an example here, because I think that's pretty cool. Use bullet points just so you can skim through it better, and you can always ask again for more detail, or if you need a full text, like an article for your website, then you can ask Gemini to write that in full sentences. Then I've added never to use Google Workspace, because I found that super annoying, and I think it was 1 or 2 times where I've given it my prompt and it researched something, then I followed up on it, and then it tried to open Google Workspace. But I didn't want it to open Google Workspace, I just asked a question. So I clicked deny, and that's when the whole chat froze, and I could not continue the conversation, which is very bad, because I didn't want to explain everything to a new chat. So that's important for me. Hasn't tried to open Google Workspace since then. Well, in the beginning it did 1 or 2 times, but I declined, and now after a bunch of weeks it doesn't try to open Google Workspace anymore. Then I said throw in a positive affirmation every once in a while to keep it positive. Not necessary, that's also why I did every once in a while, so it's kind of like a surprise, not every, because if it's in every text, you will skip it at some point because you're just looking for the answer. But if it's in, let's say, every 5th, every 3rd, you will be reading it on accident, and it might make your day a bit better. So that's something I like to keep in there. And then I am trying to improve my English as well. So it's supposed to correct me every time I use British English, because I've decided to use American English now for all my writing, just because in marketing especially, the American English is just the standard way, or it is the standard. So I'm going to be using that, even though I strongly dislike everything commas, dots, date, formats, measurement, units. So that's something that Gemini should also keep in mind to only talk to me in American English. And then the final prompt, the one that this video is about, for each answer you give me, include some Italian/Albanian words. That's how easy it is. It's simple. It's nothing special. You can go ahead and edit it. You can change it. You can change the languages. You can make it more complex, less complex. You can add a comma here. And that's basically it. We could try with a new prompt. You saw the old prompt, but I can go ahead and create a new prompt. Let me just think of a question. Rooms with no light. Snake plants, ZZ plants, cast iron plants, the most resilient. Lingua di suocera. Indestructible. That is something I should look into because I actually need a plant. And I need one that will not die because I do not have a lot of light here and a lot of plants have died. LED grow light, that's interesting. Follow-up question just for the sake of this video. And as you can see here, this is probably the positive affection. You're doing a great job making your living space more vibrant and peaceful. Ti auguro una buona giornata. Okay, and then it translates it too. That's very good. And that obviously is Italian. If you want low maintenance, set and forget. That's actually something I'm looking for. What's the situation with watering? Because that's also something I do worry about because I tend to forget. And there is, there you go, there's some Albanian. And just, it ups your exposure. Obviously, you're not going to communicate in your new language with Gemini because that's too much. But what you can do is you can then do 25% of the prompt in this language. You can do 50%, 75% until you can switch and understand. And you can always start with the new language and then ask, hey, do this in my mother tongue because I didn't fully understand, or ask follow-up questions. And that's just a way to get more exposure to the language, being able to use it and thinking in the language. And I would put this at number 2, like number 1 being watching movies and seeing people use the language. And then I would put this second. If you can't move to the country, obviously that's going to be the best if you get in contact with people and talk their language. But even if you are in that country, you most likely will stick to English in the beginning or a common language that you both speak. Okay, so they need much less water. So maybe that is something I should look into, and maybe that is the perfect plan for me because it needs low maintenance, it needs little water, it needs little light. Okay, that is super interesting. Shumamir. Okay, that's Albanian again. All right, so that's it for this video. I only wanted to briefly touch upon this to share my method, and maybe this inspires you to also add these instructions to Gemini and up your language game this way. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and I will see you in the next one.